The arrival of the conquerors. The bridge of the Dominion warship Carsol thrummed with control power. Hundreds of alien soldiers stood in perfect formation, their polished exosuits glinting with the cold blue light of tactical displays. Outside the vast viewing windows, Earth spun slowly beneath them, a blue and green marble drifting in the void, fragile, vulnerable, waiting. Commander Threx stood at the forefront, his angular features hard with confidence. He was a veteran of 15 campaigns across the spiral arm. His soldiers had broken insectoid hives, burned amphibian cities to ash, and crushed mammalian colonies beneath Dominion banners. Humanity, he thought, would be no different. Primitive bipeds, he muttered, studying the rotating projection of Earth. Infighting, fractured leadership, reliance on combustion engines. They will collapse the moment true strength is shown. The intelligence reports supported his conclusion. Humans were violent, yes, but chaotically so. They waged endless wars against themselves, burning their own civilizations down only to rebuild them. To Dominion minds, this was weakness, proof of an undisciplined species unworthy of galactic presence. The soldiers behind him did not question. Discipline was their nature. Each had been grown, trained, and conditioned from birth to serve. There was no hesitation, no fear, no wasted thought. Conquest was simply the next step. Still, there was an odd undercurrent in the reports that gnawed at Threx's certainty. The analysts had flagged psychological anomalies in human behavior. Records of soldiers fighting to the last man. Civilians resisting occupation with improvised weapons. Individuals sacrificing themselves in hopeless charges to buy mere moments of time. To Threx, such behavior was senseless. What was the value of dying when the outcome was already sealed? Dominion doctrine demanded efficiency. A soldier who could not win preserved his life for another battle. Humanity, it seemed, did not understand this. He dismissed the thought. They are simply irrational, he said aloud, more to himself than anyone else. They lack the discipline to know when to yield. Commander, an officer reported, drop formations are ready. Strike battalions await your command. Threx straightened, his dark eyes gleaming. Begin the descent. Secure their centers of government first. Leave their rural dwellings for later. Once their leaders are broken, the rest will kneel. The warships shifted in formation, dark shadows blotting out Earth's skies as they entered atmosphere. Across the globe, humans looked up at the sudden eclipses, watching as sleek, alien craft sliced silently through the clouds. Fear spread quickly, as Threx expected. Terror was the first step to obedience. The soldiers deployed in precise ranks, their boots striking Earth soil for the first time. Plasma rifles hummed with restrained power. Drones swarmed overhead, scanning every structure, every heartbeat, every flicker of resistance. But something was wrong. Cities did not tremble in unified surrender. Instead, they grew strangely quiet. Streets emptied. Lights cut out. The silence was thick, oppressive, unnatural. The first squads moved forward cautiously, scanning doorways and rooftops. Heat signatures flickered, then vanished. Shadows moved where no shadows should be. Then came the first strike. A hidden explosive tore through the lead formation, hurling Dominion soldiers into walls and fire. Gunfire, primitive, ballistic, yet lethal, echoed from the windows above. Figures darted through alleys, vanishing before drones could lock onto them. Reports crackled across comms. Ambushes in every sector, hidden mines, humans using rooftops as sniper perches. The aliens expected fear-driven chaos, but what they faced was coordinated resistance. Commander Threx watched the feed with narrowing eyes. They should be broken, he hissed. Instead, they fight like predators cornering prey. More reports flooded in. Soldiers gunned down by humans wielding nothing but knives and crude explosives. A squad trapped when civilians lured them into a bottleneck and set the street ablaze. Casualties mounting far faster than projections allowed. Worse, the humans did not retreat when wounded. They attacked harder. One Dominion officer reported being assaulted by a human soldier with half his body burned, still swinging a bloodied metal pipe until the last breath left him. This was no irrational chaos. This was intentional. Threx's jaw tightened. They sacrificed themselves deliberately. The psychological reports returned to his mind. The human tendency to fight to the last, to throw themselves against impossible odds. It was not senseless at all. It was strategy. They were willing to bleed endlessly, just to force their enemies to bleed with them. As night fell on Earth, fires burned across every occupied zone. Alien soldiers regrouped, shaken, whispering to one another in disbelief. For the first time in his long career, Commander Threx felt a gnawing sensation he did not recognize. It was not doubt. It was not hesitation. It was something far worse. It was fear. Because as the flames consumed the horizon, he understood a truth the Dominion had overlooked. Humanity was not prey. Humanity was not weak. Humanity was waiting for something to hunt. The first clash. Smoke still clung to the air hours after the first landings. Fires crackled through shattered buildings, their orange glow staining the night sky. Commander Threx stood in the heart of the Dominion's forward command post, staring at the tactical maps projected in cold blue light. The symbols representing his squads should have been advancing steadily across the human city. Instead, they blinked red, vanishing one by one. "Explain this," Threx growled, his clawed fingers tightening on the console. "Resistance is higher than anticipated, Commander," replied Subcommander Valer. His voice was steady, but his pupils flickered uneasily. "The humans are striking in small groups, retreating before we can concentrate fire. They seem to know our movements before we act." "Impossible," Threx snapped. "Their technology is centuries behind ours. They cannot." A deafening explosion shook the command post, dust raining from the ceiling. The alarm screamed. A new feed lit up the display. An armored transport convoy ambushed in an underpass, reduced to molten wreckage. Scattered Dominion soldiers staggered out, only to be cut down by gunfire from the shadows. Valer spoke again, quieter now. "It is happening everywhere, Commander. Every district we occupy, they strike back. Every street we hold, they vanish, only to reappear behind us." Threx turned to the feed of a captured human fighter. The being sat shackled, bloodied but upright, staring at its captors with unflinching eyes. The alien interrogator demanded information, threatened dismemberment, promised painless death. The human only spat blood onto the floor and laughed. That laugh crawled under Threx's armored skin. The streets of fire. By dawn, the alien soldiers were exhausted. Not from marching, Dominion physiology could endure weeks of combat, but from the sheer unpredictability of the enemy. In the ruins of District 7, Squad 9 advanced cautiously, plasma rifles humming. Their scanners picked up faint life signs ahead, inside a collapsed structure. The squad leader gestured silently. Two soldiers approached the rubble, rifles raised. A child stumbled out, dirty, clutching a crude teddy bear. The squad hesitated. Protocol dictated capture of non-combatants for later analysis. The leader reached forward. That was when the hidden charge detonated. Concrete and shrapnel tore through the squad. Survivors staggered up only to see humans erupt from the shadows, hurling Molotov cocktails that clung like fire to Dominion armor. Screams filled the street as disciplined formation broke into chaos. When reinforcements finally secured the zone, every human attacker was dead. Some had fought with nothing but broken glass bottles and kitchen knives. They had charged knowing they would not survive. Yet they had still killed Dominion soldiers before falling. The Predator's glare. Reports reached Commander Threx in a flood of static-laced comms. Ambushes in tunnels. Explosives buried under roads. Entire squads lured into traps by feigned retreats. But the worst reports were of humans who should have fled, yet did not. One Dominion officer wrote before dying, "They do not fear death. They run toward it, teeth bared. Even mortally wounded, they strike with fury. It is as though they fight for the joy of the kill itself." Threx reviewed helmet cam footage. A human soldier charging through plasma fire, riddled with burns, yet still tackling an alien to the ground and tearing at its throat with teeth. Another clip showed a pair of humans cornered in a warehouse, using nothing but steel pipes against plasma rifles. They fought until their hearts stopped beating. Threx's subordinates whispered among themselves. Words like unnatural, fanatical, and predatory echoed through the command center. But Threx knew better. This was not fanaticism. Fanatics broke when their beliefs shattered. This was something else entirely. Something primal. The turning point. 3 days into the invasion, Dominion Command declared the city pacified. It was a lie told to preserve morale. That night, the humans struck harder than ever. Entire blocks erupted in fire. Communication lines severed. Drones hacked, turned against their masters. Squad after squad went dark. Survivors spoke of figures moving like shadows, of bullets whistling from unseen rooftops, of laughter in the smoke. Commander Threx walked the shattered streets himself, stepping over burned Dominion corpses. His soldiers saluted him stiffly, but he saw the tremor in their hands. From a rooftop, a sniper's bullet cracked the air. It missed Threx's head by less than a finger's width, embedding itself in the wall behind him. The sniper did not flee. Instead, the human stood boldly in the open, reloading slowly as though daring Threx to return fire. Threx's guards disintegrated the figure in a storm of plasma, but the image burned itself into his mind. That glare, that lack of fear, a predator locking eyes with another predator. Recognition. Later, in private, Threx addressed Valeyr. His voice was quiet, heavy. "These creatures are not prey," he said. "Not undisciplined. They bleed, they burn, they break themselves against us, but not out of madness. Out of design." Valeyr shifted uneasily. "Commander, with respect, what are they if not prey?" Threx looked once more at the tactical map. Human resistance symbols glowed red across every district. Dominion control zones shrank by the hour. "They are hunters," Threx whispered, "and we have stepped willingly into their territory." Outside, the night sky lit with fresh fire as another Dominion convoy exploded. Human shadows moved through the flames, advancing without hesitation, without fear. And for the first time, Threx admitted to himself what his soldiers already knew. The hunters of Earth had begun the chase. The Predator's mind. The Dominion fleet had conquered dozens of worlds. They had studied countless sentient species, dissected their biology, mapped their psychology, and cataloged their weaknesses. Every species had one. The Kalix shrieked in terror at sudden noises. The Zolans froze when confronted with overwhelming odds. The Threxian packs fled once their alpha was killed. Even the proudest warrior races had predictable breaking points. Humans did not. The autopsy. In the med bay of the Carsol, Dominion scientists worked in silence. On the slab lay the body of a fallen human, still fresh from battle. Dr. Kivril adjusted his lenses, his mandibles twitching nervously. The muscle density is absurd. For a mammal of their size, they should not be capable of such exertion. Their bodies are optimized for endurance, not just bursts of violence. He gestured to the chart glowing on the hollow screen. "See here? They regulate heat through sweating, allowing them to run prey to exhaustion. Their ancestors hunted by chasing creatures until the quarry collapsed from fatigue. No other predator in the galaxy operates this way." Another scientist leaned closer. "Commander, they are persistence predators, built to follow, stalk, and wear down any target." Threx's throat tightened. "You mean they were designed by nature to hunt prey for days without stopping?" "Yes," Kivril confirmed grimly. "Their entire physiology screams predator. Forward-facing eyes for tracking. Adrenaline surges that grant them bursts of strength even when mortally wounded. Pain tolerance that allows them to keep fighting long past when most species would collapse." On the slab, the human's lifeless face seemed almost to smirk at them. The psychology reports. The scientists were not the only ones disturbed. Alien intelligence officers compiled vast reports from intercepted human data. History, broadcasts, archives of their wars. all translated and analyzed. The findings chilled even hardened Dominion soldiers. One report summarized, "Humans are unique among known species. They do not require external predators to justify conflict. They create their own. When denied war, they simulate it. Through games, through competitions, through stories." Another report focused on their emotional volatility. Humans attach meaning to abstract concepts: honor, revenge, freedom. They are willing to die, not for food or survival, but for ideas. This makes them unpredictable, uncontrollable. Footage played of ancient Earth conflicts, soldiers charging machine guns, revolutionaries throwing themselves against impossible odds, pilots deliberately crashing into enemy fleets. A younger Dominion officer recoiled. Why would they do this? Why choose death? The intelligence chief's voice was flat. Because for humans, death is a tool. If their sacrifice weakens the enemy, they accept it. If it terrifies the enemy, they embrace it. They weaponize their own mortality. The chamber was silent for a long moment. Soldiers shifted uneasily, their confidence unraveling. The testimony. Commander Threx ordered several captured humans brought before him. He wanted answers directly. The first was a young soldier, no older than a Dominion hatchling by comparison. Shackled, bruised, yet his eyes burned with defiance. "Why fight?" Threx demanded. "You are outmatched. You cannot win." The human smiled faintly, lips split with blood. "Winning's not the point." "Then what is?" "To make sure you lose more than you can afford." Threx felt a chill crawl down his spine. The second prisoner, an older woman, said even less. When asked why she fought, she simply held up her hands, scarred, blistered, caked with soot. Tools, not weapons. Yet she had killed 2 Dominion soldiers with nothing but a length of steel pipe. The third prisoner unnerved him most of all. He was silent, watching Threx with calm, unblinking eyes. When pressed, he leaned forward and whispered, "We don't fear predators. We are predators." The breaking point. As days passed, alien soldiers grew restless. Rumors spread faster than orders. Some whispered that humans could see in the dark. Others claimed humans drank the blood of enemies. One tale insisted that even if you shot them through the chest, they would crawl forward until their jaws closed on your throat. The truth, Threx realized, hardly mattered anymore. Fear itself had become the humans' greatest weapon. An entire battalion mutinied after refusing to clear a tunnel network. "It is not terrain," the sergeant pleaded over comms. "It is a hunting ground. They wait for us inside." In the war rooms, officers debated retreat, but Threx refused. Retreat was dishonor. Retreat was failure. Yet even he could not deny the truth. Every hour on Earth drained more soldiers, more morale, more sanity. The humans were not breaking. The Dominion was. The revelation. Late one night, Threx stood alone at the viewport, staring at the burning world below. The reports played again in his mind. Biology, psychology, testimony. Piece by piece, the picture had formed. Humanity was not a primitive mistake of evolution. It was the universe's most efficient killing machine, a species that had sharpened itself on its own kind for millennia, until war was as natural as breathing. They fought each other so they would never forget how. And now, united against a common foe, they turned that honed predatory instinct outward. Threx whispered to the empty chamber, "We thought they were prey. We were wrong. They are the hunters, and we are trapped in their jaws." As if to answer, another explosion lit Earth's night sky. Another Dominion transport consumed in fire. And in the flames, human silhouettes danced, the silhouettes of predators, hunting without mercy. The retreat of the conquerors. The Dominion's forward command was collapsing. What had begun as a precise, surgical conquest had devolved into a nightmare of fire and shadows. On the 6th day, entire platoons refused to advance. Soldiers hid in their barracks rather than patrol the streets. Some tore off their insignia, muttering of eyes in the dark, of laughter in the smoke, of humans who did not die even when burned, crushed, or shot through. Commander Threx felt the Empire slipping from his grasp. He stormed through the command center. rage masking the fear gnawing at his core. "Order the lines forward," he barked. "Reclaim District 12 before dawn." No one moved. Officers glanced at each other, hesitant. One finally spoke. "Commander, we have already lost District 12. The humans." The holomap flickered. District 12's marker pulsed red, then vanished. Entire companies erased in minutes. The silence in the room was heavy, broken only by the faint crackle of burning cities outside the viewport. Frex's hands trembled. He clenched them into fists to hide it. The last battle. The Dominion's high command ordered one final push. Break the humans in open battle. Crush their morale with overwhelming force. Frex obeyed. He gathered his best regiments, armored columns, and aerial support. They marched at dawn, engines roaring, weapons primed. The humans could not possibly withstand such concentrated power. The column advanced into the ruins of a human metropolis. Empty streets stretched ahead. Not a sound but the grinding of alien machines. Then the trap closed. Explosives detonated beneath the lead vehicles, flipping armored transports like toys. Hidden artillery fired from the rubble, shattering Dominion formations. From every rooftop, windows erupted with gunfire. Human fighters poured from the shadows, their movements reckless, fearless. The Dominion fought back, plasma scorching stone, cutting down dozens. Yet for every human who fell, 3 more appeared. They attacked in swarms, leaping onto vehicles, tearing soldiers from their seats, dragging them into alleys from which screams never returned. It was not a battle. It was a slaughter. Threx fired his plasma pistol until it overheated, until his armor was spattered with the blood of both soldier and civilian. Still the humans came, eyes wild, jaws clenched, charging without hesitation. He realized then that this was what they wanted, not victory, but terror. Every Dominion soldier killed was a message. We will bleed you dry until nothing remains. The capture. Threx was pulled back from the front by his guards. When he regained the safety of the command post, he found a human already waiting. They had captured one alive, dragged in chains through shattered streets. A soldier, though from the look in his eyes, chains meant nothing. The alien guards shoved him to his knees before Threx. The human stared up, calm, unbroken. Threx leaned close, voice a low growl. "Why? Why do you fight like this? You cannot hope to win. You cannot hope to defeat the Dominion." The human smiled faintly, teeth bloody. "We don't need to win." Threx stiffened. "What do you mean?" The prisoner leaned forward, voice steady. "We just need to make sure you never forget what happens when you set foot on our world. You came here to conquer. You'll leave here with nightmares." His eyes locked with Threx's, cold and unblinking. "That's the difference between you and us. You fight to live. We fight so you'll never come back." Even shackled, even beaten, the human radiated power that Threx could not comprehend. A predator's certainty. Threx ordered him removed. Yet the words lingered, echoing in the minds of every soldier who heard them. The withdrawal. By the 8th day, Dominion High Command conceded the inevitable. Losses were catastrophic. Supply lines shredded. Morale in free fall. The order came down, retreat. Threx felt humiliation burn through him as he relayed the command. Warships began lifting from the scarred earth, engines blazing trails of defeat across the skies. Soldiers scrambled aboard, their eyes wide, their voices hushed. None dared look back at the world below. But the humans looked up. They stood on rooftops and ruins, watching the invaders flee. They did not cheer. They did not celebrate. They only watched, silent and cold, like hunters watching prey limp away. The message was clear. This was not mercy. This was warning. The legend. In the weeks that followed, the story spread across the Dominion like wildfire. Soldiers whispered in barracks. Civilians traded rumors in markets. Commanders silenced talk of Earth, but the silence only fueled the legend. Humans, they said, were not a people at all. They were predators given the shape of men. Apex hunters who fought not for resources, not for survival, but because battle itself was their nature. Some said they could not be killed. that their rage bound them to life until the kill was made. Others claimed they hunted for sport, turning war into ritual. Whatever the truth, one fact remained. The Dominion had gone to conquer Earth, and they had returned broken. The Predator's shadow. In the solitude of his quarters, Commander Threx replayed the prisoner's words again and again. "We don't need to win. We just need to make sure you never come back." He stared at the star maps of the galaxy, his claws tapping nervously. Humans had revealed themselves as something far worse than prey. They were predators, and now every species in the galaxy knew. And deep within Threx's bones, a terrible realization settled. The Dominion had not merely lost a campaign. They had awakened the hunters of the stars.